Hey everybody, this is James reporting from the beautiful town square here in Brussels. And so a lot of places that you go in Europe, they're going to have a town square, and some of them even have a grand square, and a lot of them are really grand, but very few are quite as grand as this grand square in Brussels. And so I want to show you that real quick. It's probably kind of hard to tell, but there's gold leafing on a lot of the columns of these buildings, and when the sun comes out, they shine brilliantly. It's really beautiful. And here are some of the Gothic arches of the what's currently being used as the Tourist Information Office. And that's another good shot of one of these sides of the Grand Marketplace. Okay, and so as I mentioned before, Brussels is the headquarters, is the seat of the European Union and of the European Parliament. And I used to be able to do this spiel really well about the EU to my tour groups. Actually, I don't know if I really did it that well. Most of them fell asleep on the bus while I was on the microphone doing it. Anyway, so now I'm going to bore you with it. The EU developed, it's a political and economic union that developed out of the carnage of World War II. The Second World War, 40 million people dead, the entire continent ripped apart. And so the European countries got together and they decided, okay, this is never going to happen again. So we're going to bind together our nation states in a political and economic and kind of cultural union that is going to ensure that it's going to be very, very hard for this tapestry that we weave to ever be ripped apart. And so far, it's worked very well. And the EU is a very powerful kind of super state, if you will. It has a $16 trillion GDP. 500 million people live within the EU. It has 28 member nation states. And so it's very powerful, but it's facing a lot of challenges as it moves into the 21st century. And I think that just by its very nature, by its very construction, it was kind of inevitable that a lot of these problems would arise in terms of there's a lot of sovereignty issues now. When the economy was really good, people were okay with the arrangement. But now that the economy is starting to sour, a lot of nations are, or at least the people of a lot of nations, are kind of starting to chafe against what they feel is some unfair taxation without representation by the EU and bureaucratic control over their business. And so a lot of nations are talking about possibly leaving the EU. Great Britain has already done it. They've already voted to leave, I think last July. And so we'll see how that all plays out in the future. But they have a lot of serious challenges ahead of them. But they're also investing hugely, the EU is, in infrastructure throughout Europe. And so that's a really good thing for all these nation states as well. But we'll see. And for right now, I'm in one of the grandest squares in Europe here in Brussels. And thank you for joining me. Bye.